Oi, psst. Want to buy a book? Hi friends, my name is Bart, welcome back to the channel, and this week we're talking all about banned books and book challenges. Now this video will be a two-part video. In the first part I'm going to talk about these recent wave of book bannings and why they are happening, and in the second part I'm going to do what I do best, and that's recommend you some of the best books they don't want you to read. Now as always I will link all of the books I talk about down below in the description box, as will I link some resources on book bannings so you can do your research for yourself. That's enough of an introduction. Let's go. According to the American Library Association, last year more books have been challenged than the two previous years together. That's more than 2,500 different titles subjected to a challenge. And in many cases, complaints were not just about one book, but hundreds of books at a time. Librarians, teachers, school staff are being harassed and threatened with either prosecution or even physical violence at some points. So what is happening? Why have we brought book burning back? And why are these books deemed so dangerous? Let's find out. First of all, we have to look at legislation. A lot of laws have been passed that restrict some topics in schools and in education. In Tennessee, for example, there is the discomfort law that actually says that a school cannot teach any subject that could create discomfort within its students. A lot of laws have been passed that restrict teaching about race or sexuality. Teachers that don't follow these laws could lose their jobs and schools could lose their funding. So often all it takes is a few screaming adults about how these books are causing discomfort for schools and libraries to take these books off the shelves out of a fear of losing money or staff. It's not just a law. Book bans are being organized. Several religious, political and ultra-conservative groups have been organizing book bans on a national level. Groups like the conservative Moms for Liberty have been at the forefront of the battle against any book that would educate their children about gender, sexuality or even race. And to fuel these banning attempts, there are politicians that have published lists of hundreds of books that they deem dangerous and inappropriate for children. In 2021, these Moms for Liberty even offered a $500 bounty to the first person who could catch a teacher teaching about race or sexuality in class. The war on books is real, and it already dictates on who can read what, where. Why are these books being banned? What is so dangerous about them? PEN America, an association that advocates for freedom of speech, has compiled a list of reasons why books are being challenged or banned. And these are worrying. 41% of book challenges are because the main character or any of the secondary prominent characters are people of color. 22% directly address race, racism or any racial discrimination. A quarter contains sexual content of any kind, even coming-to-age books discovering sexuality are being banned because of this, and 33% contained characters from an LGBTQ background. Remaining 25% were all about activism, social justice and injustice, and any idea that is deemed dangerous for the government. In summary, any book with a topic that is considered to be outside white heterosexual norms is deemed dangerous. But luckily there is pushback. There are already underground libraries that offer banned books to any teens that are looking for them. And the Brooklyn Library offers a free membership to teens all over the US so they can access these books that might not be available in their home state. And in the end, it's all about trying to keep teens who have full access to the internet away from certain books or texts. Good luck with that one. Nevertheless, this is a very dangerous trend, and victims are already the children that have to break the law to educate themselves or find out about their own identity. So let's get a bit naughty ourselves and dive in with 5 books that I think you should absolutely read because they are worth it. Not just because they are banned. First book on our list is The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Written originally in 1970, it is a hauntingly beautiful and heart-wrenching novel about an 11-year-old black girl, Peccola, who thinks herself to be ugly. And every day she prays that her eyes would turn the brightest blue and her skin would get a lot less dark so she could be beautiful like the other girls. originally banned because of sexually explicit material, disturbing language and an underlying socialist communist agenda. In truth, this book is banned because of themes like racism, racial inequality and racial discrimination. It is an absolute tearjerker that anyone of any background should read, but do check the trigger warnings first. First book on our list, The Bluest Eye by Toni Morrison. Next one on our list is possibly the most challenged and most banned book of 2022, and it is Genderqueer, a memoir by Maia Kobabe. Genderqueer is an autobiographical graphic novel about finding your own identity. It is a very personal story, but it's also perceived as sort of a guide into how to find your own identity and how to cope with it and how to explain to your family and your surroundings what things like non-binary or asexual means. It tackles all of the adolescent pitfalls of social and sexual anxiety, but it is also a very useful guide for anyone who tries to understand better what is going on in the minds of young people all around you. Both banned in over half of the states of the US and an Amazon bestseller, Genderqueer, a memoir by Maia Kobabe is my second recommendation for this list. The next book is another classic and it simply had to be in this list, and it is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Fahrenheit 451 is a dystopian classic about book burning. Guy Montag, our main character, is a fireman, and it is his job to destroy something that has become very illegal, being books. Now, he does so without questioning any of the reasoning behind it until the day that he meets Mildred. And Mildred is a young girl who introduces him to a past where books were not forbidden. They were actually considered to be a treasure. And as he unravels that past and unravels what books can do for us readers, his mind starts to change. Now, originally banned because of strong language and explicit scenes, this book is all about conflicting moral, ethical and religious beliefs. A dystopian classic, Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury is our number 3 on our banned books list. Another dangerous book on this list is All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. In this series of essays, I guess, the author, who is a journalist and LGBTQ+ activist, explores his adolescence, his youth and his college years. This is all about the struggles and the victories that Black queer boys have to go through growing up in USA today. It is about getting your teeth kicked in by bullies, but also about trying those first steps into relationships, I guess. This book tackles a lot: gender identity, toxic masculinity in any sexual group, brotherhood, society, consent. It is written in this very direct, very modern style that will appeal to young adults, and any reader for that matter. Just like Genderqueer, this is both a testimony and a guide for anyone who tries to understand more about how it is growing up as being someone of color or someone of a different sexuality. Number 4, All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. Our last pick today is another graphic novel, and no, I am not going for Mouse by Art Spiegelman, which is up there with some of the best banned graphic novels, but I'm going for Persepolis by Marjan Satrapi instead. In this powerful black and white graphic novel, Marjan Satrapi tells her childhood growing up in Iran and suffering from the changes into the Islamic Revolution and the war with Iraq. It is a heartfelt critique of religious fundamentalism and doesn't hold back on any topic when showing what such a regime can do. But why is this book banned in so many states in the US? Well, the main reason here can be found on the other side of the political spectrum. A lot of liberal groups find this book to be too critical and are afraid it comes over as Islamophobic. Chicago public schools have decided to restrict access to this book because of sensitivity reasons. And yes, I'll admit this book comes with a decent amount of trigger warnings, but that's what trigger warnings are for. It is a very powerful personal story and a very powerful testament of geopolitical issues. So as our final recommendation for today, another dangerous banned book, Persepolis by Marjan Satrapi. Now I want to hear from you. Should books be banned or are trigger warnings enough? Have you read any banned books, and if so, what's your favorite? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk some more. And if you are concerned that any of these books are too dangerous for you, then I assure you these recommendations are totally fine. That's it from me for this week. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, do give us a like, do subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!